Ichabod is it's been a very tough time in the last few seasons. What has that been like seeing in the genesis from season 2 to season 3 in a character? What was that like for you when you first looked at the scripts?
Well, I've killed my wife and son. Where do you go from there, really? But gained a flatmate, so that's the main thing. It's the one nice thing about doing a series that runs through several seasons is you do get to try and explore a character over a much greater journey than you would in a film or in short seasons. And yeah, as you see, an awful lot to think about, so it's been fun to explore that.
And you've got some cactus now as well in the plants.
Oh yeah, that's right, we killed all of the plants. Yeah, lots of cacti.
And one of the things that Ichabod makes him very endearing is the characteristics that he has and that you bring into the role. It's stuff like even when he's sitting down with the jackets, there's a gentle flick back every time.
That's something that was instilled in me at drama school. Because when you sit down with a frock coat, you've got to flick it, otherwise you'll crease it. And that's something that stuck with me. And I think there's only one moment where you see Ichabod sit down with his back against the chair. He's always sitting very properly. And I think that's coming up soon, actually, in the next few episodes. We'll see. Look out for Ichabod's back touching the chair. Sleeping hands.
And also they took away the wig. Or is it still a wig? Because you got short hair?
I was very grateful for that. We moved to Atlanta where it's 95% humidity and nearly 100 degrees every day, so to get rid of that wig, that was a bit of a blessing.
Was it like a burning of the wig, or it was like, yes, been burned?
Stamp on it, throw it around and sell it. Would anybody like to auction the wig? No. Done, sold.
Just that way?
But also we discussed at the beginning of this season that there was a hair change. My performance is entirely based on hair. So between the first and second season, the hair is out of the little ponytail bit and it's down flowing locks as Ichabod's a bit more relaxed. And then we wanted to try something else this year. So to have it cut instantly shows that there is a definite change in him. As I said, he's killed his wife and his son. And I always imagined that he just cut it all off and went off to Scotland. So that from the moment you see him, you know that it's a different person. Who knew that hair could be so interesting? It's not really, is it?
And at the beginning of the season, the show jumps forward 9 months.
Yeah.
Will we get to see more of what Ichabod did during that 9 months as the show progresses, or...?
No. It's referred to quite often, the trip back to the family estate in Scotland, because he found something quite important there that has knock-on throughout the rest of the show. It would be nice if there is a 4th season. I'm afraid I still can't come with any great answers about whether there will be. If there is, it would be nice to explore that time, because that was really quite an influential moment in his life. And I'd just like to see him cut the hair.
This sort of whole scene where you just like cut the hair and then just throw it into the fire.
Exactly. And there'll be a perm for season 4.
And one of the things that they've done when they've kept the character is they've still kept him wearing the traditional clothes and things like that. Do you think they'll ever move, not that we want them to, but do you think they'll ever slowly integrate more modern clothing into Ichabod or not?
I hope not. One thing that I remember discussing with Len Wiseman during the pilot was how I'm trying to think of a man who is so far removed from his home by 200 years. To have that, it's like a comfort blanket. And I think it's still important, no matter how he integrates himself into the modern world, he still needs the comfort to remember where he's from, the importance of who who he is. So I think it would be a great shame. Len wanted to push as far as we could Ichabod not changing his clothes at all. You'll notice that there has since been variations on the theme. But Len was like, no, let's keep the one that he came out of the shitty ground. Sorry. This guy came out of the ground, let's see how far we can push it, and then let's push it a bit more. So if it was up to Len, I'd still be wearing 200-year-old clothes.
Nice. That's fun for you. Right, so you'd like to ask Paul a question? Feel free to stick your hand up and I'll bring the microphone round to you and we can just ask away. There you go, a lady here in the second row.
I just wanted to know, you told last year that you would be interested to write or direct an episode. So it is from your mind, and it is said the first season, would you like it to do it?
For anyone who didn't hear that, it's about writing and directing episodes. I had ideas for episodes this year to write. And I put a couple of them to the showrunner, but I think I had different ideas of what the show is. So they were politely no, basically. But maybe if there's a fourth season, maybe some of those ideas will seem like. I know that Nicole was quite keen on a couple of them. And directing, I'd love to direct an episode. I think, particularly as we've had largely the same crew for 3 years, and we have very, very good producers and on-the-ground directors who would be very supportive, because it would be the first thing I'd ever directed, and they would be able to be very helpful. The trouble is, there's just no time for the preparation. When we get a director come in to do an episode, we have 8 or 9 days to film each episode, and the directors come in just over a week before so that they can prepare it, and they go and they look at locations, and they work through the script, and they work through everything that needs to be worked through, and cast the actors who come in for each episode. So there's a lot of preparation work, which I wouldn't be able to do because I'd be shooting the previous episode. So if I was to do one, it would have to be the first one in a season. Which, again, if there's a season 4, maybe. But then this year, I kind of wanted to stay at home so on the record. It's a long shoot at that. So maybe.
And other than the heat in Atlanta, what was one of the other main big changes that you kind of felt you know, having to do filming out there?
Barbecue pulled pork for every meal. It was lovely. The food there, they're very generous down there. They of course fed me a lot, and I loved it. I didn't find that.
I can imagine you would. Question for the lady here.
Hi. I just want to ask about the crossover episode with Bones and what it was like going to Los Angeles and shooting on their sets.
I loved it. It was a nice moment to kind of stir things up a little bit and to get a change of scenery. I know we met Mr. Borealis